Guys, look at this delicious cheddar cheese dip. Today I'm going to teach you how to make this, and you're going to have the best dip at any party. Well, howdy folks. Welcome to Texas Cooking Today. I'm Chef Trotters, your host. Today we're going to be preparing some wonderful, delicious food. And what you're watching here, this is one of my tutorials. So if you're looking for all of the answers and all of the details about this recipe, you found the right video. If you just need the recipe, watch the previous episode. That's what that is. And thank you very much for watching. Now, let's get into this. Now guys, that is a good looking cheese dip, isn't it? I'll tell you what, it's not that hard to make. So if you're not the world's best cook, but you want to make something for maybe the party or the ball game or something like that, it's not going to be a problem. I'm going to teach you how to make this. It's not tough to do, but I'll teach you all of the tricks that you need to know to make it absolutely perfect so that there won't be any problems and you can impress everybody that you give it to. Well, you may decide not to give any of it away once you taste it. Tell you what, this is a wonderful dip, so let's get in the kitchen and get busy cooking this one up. Come on, let's go. Wow, guys, we have some wonderful ingredients. We're going to make a fantastic tasting cheese dip. Now I've got some cheddar here. That's extra sharp cheddar. You want it shredded. The sharper the better, and here's the reason. Your flavor is going to get washed out in that cream, so the cream is going to make a mild cheddar even milder. You don't want to do that to yourself. We have some flour, some salt, and butter, and with these items we're going to make this fantastic cheese dip. I have extra goodies to add to this, so I'm going to throw in one extra step on this, and I'm going to do this on purpose, and that is so if you decide that you want something extra in yours, you're going to know how to bring that about, okay? And there's different ways you can add stuff to this dip. You can put in raw ingredients, yeah, but you know, a raw onion in a cheese dip doesn't really taste very good on your chip, but a cooked onion in a cheese dip tastes really good on your chip. So you need to process things the right way. That's what we're going to be doing here. I'm going to be using jalapeno, and that's just because I like chilies in my cheese dips. Okay, that's just the way I am. I've always loved chilies in my cheese dips. Chilies and cheese, to me, they are like brothers, okay? They just go together. They should be together. So anyway, I'm going to show you how to cut those up, dice them up really nice and small for a good quality cheese dip. And we're going to get busy making this right now, guys. So I'll tell you what, come over and let's get in on it. Now guys, we need to go ahead and get these processed for this dip. Now, first thing I'm going to do is just cut these down a little bit. All I'm going to do is just take off that crown and split them. That's the only knife work I'm really going to be doing other than when I cut them down. So do this, split them open. Do that to each one, and I'll show you how we core these out. Something I want to mention to you when you're going to be coring or working with any kind of a hot chili like this, just go ahead and put on some gloves. The capsaicin in it can burn your hands. Use a spoon to pull out the core on that. Isn't that simple, guys? That's all you have to do. Very clean, very quick and easy, and you're all done. And just do that to each of them. Let's go ahead and get these cut up. Now remember, if you're not big on chilies, you don't have to include this in this dip. But this is a really neat item if you do like chilies. Now, first thing you want to know is cutting a chili with your knife. You're going to cut, pinch the blade, choke up on that handle so you get ultimate control on the rock and roll of that knife. Otherwise, if you're holding it back here, it can spin in your hand and you don't want that. You can get cut that way. All right, so pinch that blade and get a better control on that knife. All right, the next thing is keep those fingertips curled under. Use that center joint right here for the side of your knife to glide along. All right, that way you're cutting safe. Now, while we do that, to cut a chili easily, first keep that thumb behind the fingers turned under, and you can make simple thin slices just like so. All right, so what I want to do is to thin slice all of my chilies. Now if your knife is sharp enough, you can do it this way. I don't recommend this until you really learn your knife skills. However, what I was just showing you is just sort of the rock and roll version of that, which is where you bring your blade in and roll it, and you're pushing this down and holding it flat. Unless your blade is really sharp, it won't cut through that outer skin on a chili. Okay, so this works with a sharp knife, but not with a dull knife. Okay, so here we go. And folks, sharp knives are safe, dull knives are dangerous. That's the truth. When cross-cutting, remember, keep those fingers turned under, guys. Turn them back, and you can catch the end of your vegetables, keep them from sliding away from you with your pinky, but keep that pinky turned under while you do it, okay? Let's get our butter down in this pan, and I'm going to put a medium flame underneath it to melt it and start it. Now guys, as soon as this butter melts out, I'm going to put my peppers in that, the jalapeno, and when the jalapeno is cooked down, and it takes about 15 minutes to sweat it, once it's been sweat down and the jalapeno is tender and the butter is flavored with it, then we're going to add our flour and make a beautiful tasting roux that we will then build and make a wonderful dip on. So this isn't really too terribly difficult. This is basically what we're doing is we're making a white sauce, and we're just kind of building on that, and that's how a lot of things like this are built. This is where it starts. Guys, our butter is fully melted. I'm going to put this right down in here. That's about 3/4 of a cup of diced jalapeno. Now guys, when you're cooking something like this up, we're going to do what's called sweating it. And so what I want to do is I want to cover this, cook it on a medium low, and let those chilies sit there and basically steam. And they will steam while cooking in that butter, and it'll be wonderful. The flavor that it produces in this is remarkable. Now, as I mentioned, if you're not interested in putting chilies in your dish, just disregard this segment of it. It's not absolutely necessary, but this is necessary for me to show you a cooking process for anything that you might want to add. So if you want to like put onions in there or anything else, this is where it begins right here. And never put meats that are raw in your dip. Always pre-cook those meats, and then once they're pre-cooked, you can put them in at this stage, but I recommend just adding pre-cooked meat after the dip is already made. Guys, make sure you stir these about every 2 or 3 minutes just to make sure that they're not getting too hot and burning, okay? And guys, I'm going on 5 minutes of cooking. I'm going to go ahead and salt my dish right now. Okay, that's somewhere between 1/4 and 1/2 teaspoon. The advantage of doing this now is it allows that salt to break down and work into those vegetables as well as into the whole dish a little bit better. They can go ahead and dissolve easier. So you can just salt at any time, but I like doing it early on this particular dish. I have just turned these down a little bit. I was starting to get a little bit of browning. Didn't really need that. It's not going to hurt it, but it just wasn't needed. They have sweat down enough though. They're about 12 minutes in. At this point, I'm just going to add in my flour. I'm just going to gently dust that in there. Now, in a moment, what this is going to do, this is going to kind of get foamy on us, and that's what I need. I need it to get foamy, and I need it to cook that flour until the flour is about the color of about a peanut, a light tan color. I wanted you to have a good close-up on this so you can see how this goes. And if you don't get kind of a light bubbly effect like I have going on here, add in just a little bit more butter or some cooking oil. Either one, doesn't take much. Put in maybe a teaspoon or 2 at a time, and that's all. It doesn't take much to get this light foamy condition, and the reason that we're trying to get this condition is the technique I'm going to show you for making this when we first add our cream. does not do well if you have a thick roux. So you need a thin, bubbly roux like this. When using a thick roux, you have to very, very slowly add your cream, milk, half and half, or whatever it is you're adding to this. You have to very slowly add that in there and then work it in until that turns from a paste into more like a sauce. And that is how, you know, most white sauces are built. That's the way it's taught. Well, that's one of the ways it's taught. The other way is what I'm about to teach you here, which is build a very thin roux that's light and bubbly. And when you have that condition, if you pour your cream in quickly, and I don't mean semi-fast, I mean really, really fast, like as in just dump it in there. If you pour it in really fast like that, what that'll end up doing for you is it does not clump. If you pour it in too slow, it will clump. So this is sort of a speed situation. How fast can you get it done? So we'll let that cook for just a couple of minutes. It doesn't take this very long, and this is on a medium-low flame, guys. So once that butter has once the flour has the raw flour flavor cooked out of it, then we can go ahead and add our cream. Okay guys, we're getting a light tan color from our butter, so I'm going to go ahead and, like I told you earlier, we're going to put this in quickly, not slowly, okay? Because if you take your time, you're going to have clumps, all right? So here we go. Now at first it's going to be thin, and when this comes back up in temperature, you'll have A, there'll be no lumps, B, it'll be thick, then that will be the beginning of our cheese dip. So if you would, just bring this back up in temperature, and we're going to want it just beginning to put off a little bit of steam, not much, just a little bit. And once it's at that point, we're going to put our cheese in there. Oh boy, this is going to be good. Now guys, like I said though, you have to thicken it, and that's what we're doing first. We get it that steamy point. It's thickening up on us really nice, guys. Look at that. I'm going to give this just a little bit more time to finish thickening. Now a little trick to using a whisk, if you'll put your hand against the butt of it and push it, the outer tine will track along the bottom corner of your pan, and it'll clean it for you. Now right here I have a beautiful chili sauce. That would be a just a white sauce with chilies, and I bet that would be wonderful for all kinds of little goodies. So get your heads working right now on different items that you could use this for right here. This is what I say about my recipes are very adaptable, okay? And it's true that they are. We'll start putting in some cheese. Just keep adding that in until you have your cheese fully incorporated. Guys, remember, I still have my pan over a medium-low flame. So it's producing heat. That's in part what's helping to melt that cheese in. Is that gorgeous looking or what? This is just a matter of be patient with it and keep working that cheese in until you get it all in there. And I'm almost finished with my cheese. I'll dump the last of it in there. And just keep giving this a moment to finish heating up. And when that cheese is fully melted, and I bring this up in temperature just a little bit, this is going to be finished, guys. And that's all there is to it. Very simple and beautiful cheddar cheese dip. And in this case, it's a cheddar cheese dip with plenty of chilies in it. Oh yeah. And as I said, that as the cheese melts and it heats just a little bit, it will become slightly more viscous. And that'll allow it to be workable so you can get it down into a carafe or something like that. Now, something you might want to know if it seems a bit too thick, I've added a little bit of cream, about a tablespoon of cream, and then it looked good, so I added about another tablespoon. And the thing of it is as this cools, it thickens even more. So this is a good thing. Guys, look at this beautiful, beautiful dip that we have produced. See how smooth, kind of velvety it is, how it flows, how it holds shapes well, but it flows well at the same time. That's a beautiful dip. Okay, and there you go. That's how to make a cheddar cheese dip. And let me tell you something, if you want something like this but you don't want the jalapeno in there, well, just omit the process of cooking jalapenos in the butter. Melt the butter, cook the flour in the butter, and then do the rest of it the exact same way. That's the only difference, okay? So you learned how to add stuff if you want. You don't have to, and it is a universally wonderful dip to use. Imagine this on your baked potato. Oh, imagine this over broccoli. Oh yeah. For the measurements on the ingredients of this wonderful cheese dip, we have 8 ounces of shredded extra sharp cheddar. Go with at least a sharp on this one. It makes for a much better quality dip. Lighter cheeses seem to get washed out in that cream. Now we have 1 cup of cream. We're going to be using salt to taste, starting with about 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon. I have 2 tablespoons of flour, and that is for our roux. 3 tablespoons of butter. And of course, vegetables or anything like that, if you want to add that in, I'm going to be using about 5 jalapenos in mine, big ones. You can add onion, you could add shallot. Make sure you cook these items. You could put, oh, here's some ideas for you. You could put in there some bacon bits or sausage. Now the sausage is going to have to be cooked, and the bacon, if it's raw, of course, that'll have to be cooked. If it's the bacon bits like you purchase for a salad, that should work fine. Okay, so there's a good end run for you to make it real easy. Now here's a rule of thumb. You might say, well, how many bacon bits do I add? Well, you can always add more, but you can't take them out once they're in there. So add a little bit, try it. If you need more, add a little more. And that's sort of the rule of thumb to adapting something like this to whatever tastes and desires that you have. But there's a lot of stuff you can add. You can put some cayenne in there. I would start with 1/4 teaspoon. That'll bring up the heat on it. It sure will. 1/2 teaspoon will bring up the heat a lot. Now, paprika will give it a warmth in its tone and its character. And so will, believe it or not, ground mustard. It gives it a funky quality. It's a little bit different. Start light with that. Again, 1/4 teaspoon, taste it, and then move up. So spices like that can be used really well for this. There's a lot of things you can put in there. A little pepper sauce, all right, those work well. So basically, take this wonderful cheese dip and use it for anything. Add extra goodies to it, make it yours, and it's good. Anyway, those are your recipe ingredients, and guys, you're off and cooking. There we go. Okay, guys, look at this. Beautiful cheddar cheese dip. Like I said, if you want to be just popular at the party, this one will get you there. Man, cheesy. The flavor of that jalapeno, I love it. On this one, with all that extra cream and cheese, it really tempers the heat of jalapenos. Plus, we removed the cores, which is 90% of the heat. So this works out really well, and it is a delicious dish, guys. You really need to try this one out. I would like to say thanks a lot for watching. If you would, please leave some comments down below. Click the like button. I'll really like that when you do it. Guys, if you have any requests, ask for them down there. And appreciate you watching. If you would, enjoy your dip and have a good day, okay? Bye-bye. Well, there it is, guys. Texas Cooking Today tutorial. Thank you very much for watching this show and for watching Texas Cooking Today. If you would, please go to my channel. Check out what I have there. There's some wonderful recipes and some great tutorials waiting for you to try. Again, thank you very much.